That's the gauge block. I've added the O-ring in myself because the gauge is always upside down, so with that little O-ring in there, the gauge is up the right way. But basically what I found is, with that slot, this needs to seal, and obviously it won't seal properly because of the slot. So basically I've had to take it all apart just to get that smooth side on. So we're putting it in backwards, so then that'll be butted up to there, so it should seal. Here's the valve. So obviously there's 3 fixing holes, and that's the transfer port, which is very small, probably about a mil, maybe a bit more. But that looks loose. I need to tighten it up. I think that's loose. So I'm going to try and take it apart. I'm just going to pause this a minute, moment. Right, that's the components of the valve. Obviously that spacer goes on that side, so just to give a bit more tension to the spring block of it. And then obviously that end just screws back in. It's got a big, I mean obviously I've got to do it too tight. There's no sealing ring in there or anything. So obviously it's sealed on the outside with 2 rings. So you ain't got to go mad, just tighten it so it don't loosen. But the transfer port as well. Where is it? There. Where is it? Okay. There's all the transfer port is. Looks rough as anything, but it's like rubber or something. It's not like other guns where it like goes into the barrel and whatever else. It doesn't. It all just butts up to it, because I could slide the barrel and the breech up and down. Unlike some of them's obviously got like a metal rod going for a metal tube or something that stop it moving. Obviously, you know, it's the top of the tube because of the transfer port. So here's all the parts. The gauge, the end cap, trigger unit, safety catch, ball bearing, a little ball bearing up there. Three O-rings on the end of the barrel. But this is a nightmare. I mean, the actual tube slid out quite easily. That thing's loose now as well, so like you can pop it off if you guys who's removed want to remove yours, and just pop off there. I'm leaving mine on. So there's your breech. That's the 3 little screws that hold in the valve. That's the top Picatinny rail. Hammer spring, the end cap for the hammer. That's the bolt. The stock screws in underneath, and obviously that's what holds the cover to hold the hammer spring in. But as they say in the, don't know which one it is, abroad, there's some sort of Allen key you can tighten up and adjust the hammer tension, but in the UK there's not one on here. So there's the hammer and the block. And the hammer obviously goes thus upwards. Alright, that's the gauge block, and the gauge back in. Valves back in with the 3 fixing bolts. I mean, obviously I put plenty of grease on it to get it past all these slots and holes and things. Let's get a torch on a minute. There's a transfer port, if you can see that good, I don't know. If you can see that, sorry, where is it? It's actually that way round, so the pin at the top, the holes at the far end, and underneath the holes closer to the hammer. So basically when it goes in, it sits like this, and then there's an hole underneath, which is obviously that one there. That's for the front trigger screw, which is them two there. So you've got a countersunk one, which is goes in the breech, that goes in the top, and then the sort of mushroom button head one goes underneath, which is a front trigger screw. Alright guys, hope you can see that. Put about 200 bar in the cylinder. It's sitting, I don't know, what's that? 1150, 1120, something like 1120 psi, about 1100 psi. So it's holding on the reg now at last. So just got to get the stock back on.